Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Am I the Asshole? If you enjoy hearing Reddit stories, it would really support the channel if you could like or subscribe. So let's get started with our first story. Am I the asshole for simply asking my boyfriend's dad to put a plate in the cabinet? Short story short, I was making a cream pea with fruits on top, strawberries, kiwis, mango, etc. I was in the kitchen finishing it off, and my boyfriend's dad, I'll call him Stefan, was finishing off a dish he was making. My boyfriend's grandpa was coming over at 6 p.m., so Stefan was making things for him in advance, and I was making the pie. So the clock hits 6 p.m. and his grandpa is supposed to come at any minute. So Stefan rushes and cleans the counters and asks me to hurry. So I grabbed some things to put away, but said I was slow and not fast enough. I put the pie in the freezer and get 2 other things to put away in a second fridge. A plate, which was the only thing on the counter, and something I was no longer using, was in his way of cleaning. As I carried 2 other things to put in the garage fridge, I said to Stefan, "You can put that plate away if you want, it's clean," in a normal, non-bitchy or bossy tone. I come back inside to clean away the berries, and Stefan says behind me, "Daphne, don't ever tell me to put things away like that again," in a serious tone, which I never heard from him before. I'm ashamed of it, but I'm a pretty sensitive person. If I'm only nice and respectful to a person and suddenly they snap at me like this, it's hard for me to act the same way again. I don't know if anyone else here is like this, but it happens to me a lot. Once this happens, I feel the urge to get lost and not be seen again for the rest of the day. I grew up in a severely abusive home. After he said that to me, I left. I told my boyfriend this, and he sides with his dad, of course, and says what I did was very disrespectful. I personally do not see this, and I want to know if I was an asshole here. Thank you. You need to dump your boyfriend. If he sided with your father, instead of defending that what you did was in no way disrespectful, then he's just as much of a Neanderthal as his father. Run. You said you come from an abusive family background, and by staying with this man knowing this is his mindset, you're continuing in an abusive family. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend's family sounds rude and ungrateful, at best. Are they always this unpleasant? Ugh, people like this. I completely understand your fight, flight, or freeze response, OP. I generally freeze in situations like that, and then I mull it over for the rest of the time I'm with them. Why did they say that? I would never speak to them like that, etc. My go-to now is to stare at them blankly and say, why? Get them flustered instead of you. This is your sign of things and behaviors to come. Run. Not the asshole. The fact that he was rushing you to clean up and telling you you're not going fast enough already makes him TA. His response was completely unnecessary. If he was so desperate to clean the kitchen fast, you'd think he'd happily put it away. I said to Stefan, "You can put that plate away if you want, it's clean," in a normal, non-bitchy or bossy tone. If I'm only nice and respectful to a person, and suddenly they snap at me like this, it's hard for me to act the same way again. I don't know if anyone else here is like this, but it happens to me a lot. Not the asshole. Because rude is rude, and he reacted rudely. But if this is something that happens to you a lot, maybe your normal tone isn't as non-bitchy as you think it is. I suspect he snapped because he was stressed about his father coming and felt the clock running out to clean up and was already irritated with you in his kitchen space being slow and you delegating him to put something away as a guest in his own kitchen was the final straw. Was the kitchen dirty at 6 p.m. because you took forever to make the pie? He was frustrated with you and lashed out. He didn't want his dad to walk into a mess, and the cause of the mess was giving him orders in his mind. So he was an asshole about it. But again, if people lash out at you like this frequently, maybe your tone is not what you think it is. Am I the asshole? I chose not to go out on NYE and leave my elderly mother-in-law with our 3 yo. My partner is so upset with me at the moment. We rarely get to go out anymore due to lack of childcare for our 3-year-old. I do plan early dates with a sitter from time to time, but it's not great leaving her with someone during bedtime. I'm probably too uptight about this, honestly. My so surprised me with tickets to a NYE show 45 min away from our house. His mom is in town from another country for the holidays, so we'd have childcare. The day came, and we both had concerns about leaving our 3-year with his mom, due to her not necessarily being great as a sitter, and our 3-year-old not warming up to her as we hoped she would. I'm also working all week and quite tired. We decided to forgo going and stay in for the evening. Or so I thought, because after I made dinner, he said, "Let's just go. We should have some fun." I got upset because why didn't he express his enthusiasm for going before I got it in my head we were staying in? It's hard for me to rally and get out if the house late. I was actually relieved when he said we shouldn't go, and then when he changed his mind, I was upset and wouldn't go. But again, I'm tired, and I'm not sure his mom would be okay watching our toddler through bedtime. Am I the asshole? Should I have just sucked it up and gone out? Edit. Info on my concerns about mother-in-law as a sitter. She's 77 and in okay condition. I would never leave my 3-year with her in a public setting because she would never be able to keep up with her and the child would be lost. Now, in our house, especially in the evening where we could have potentially left after the kid was asleep, my main concern is if there were to be some type of emergency, my mother-in-law would have no way to call 911 and would not know what to do in really any situation. She would have to call my husband and we'd call 911 and come home. She can't use the stove or the microwave. We show her, but she just doesn't get it. I don't think she could turn the TV on. That kind of stuff, I would leave and go to a local restaurant, but 45 minutes away to a show just seemed like too much. I vote you're the asshole, because it was surely the kid's sleep time, and having raised 3 children, the last of which turned 3 a year ago, I can confidently say most 3-year-olds sleep through the night once they're down. What issues was OP anticipating with the MEL at that hour? I hope you're not blaming your kid and your husband's mom for yourself, being too lazy or too unreasonably afraid to go on a decently planned couple's night that your husband wanted to enjoy with you. This is how people kill their spousal relationship after kids. I hope you take responsibility for a crumbling marriage eventually, the way you are letting scarce opportunities go by to cherish with your guy. Not the asshole. These comments are wild, LMAO. Not the asshole. For not wanting to leave your baby, if you had concerns, it would be taken care of. But you and your SO should really get together and try to make time for each other, even if it means planning ahead. Spontaneous outings are hard with a 3-year-old, especially if you're not comfortable with sitters. Not the asshole. And I suspect those saying otherwise don't have children, or remember what it was like having toddlers. You both had concerns about it, and he got a second wind. No problem with that. But he should have either gone by himself or with a friend at that point. It is not your job to accompany him just because he changed his mind. He isn't an AH for wanting to go, but he is for getting upset with you because you didn't want to. Does he ever handle the bedtime routine or wake-ups in the middle of the night? You're the asshole. It's his NYE too. Does everything have to be your way? Not the asshole for wanting to not go out, but you probably should reconsider your attitude about sitters. You mother-in-law successfully raised the man you love. Why do you think she can't handle a toddler? She has more motherhood experience than you, and she has a good track record. Is your child the problem, that you feel you can't impose him or her on others? If so, seek some parenting guidance/help. And as a grandparent, I can tell you that they'll behave for grandma when they don't for you when you're not there. You need to put effort into your marriage and yourself as well as your child, all important and deserve attention. It is hard to learn that balance, but it is possible. It isn't possible, however, if you don't let others help. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.